Okay, I want you all to take a good look at this D35 here. This is a 70's D35, and it had the typical 1970s intonation issues. And I have a whole nother video on what to look for when potentially buying a 70's Martin Dreadnought. This guitar has the intonation problem, which is the first thing you need to check if you're looking at a 70's Martin D. It's not necessarily the end of the world, but there are some options that you have for correcting the intonation. And I discussed that again in the other video, but this guitar is one of the few that I use the neck shim technique. And in that technique, rather than scooting the bridge backwards here, I put shims under the neck heel right here in order to scoot the neck this way to get the intonation correct. Now, let's look at it, and then let's talk about this. So you can see the shims here. Right there. And then you have to deal with the heel cap. Right there. Okay? And you got this problem, which on this guitar, let me bring the microphone up here so you can hear me. I'll bring my mic up here a little bit better. Now, this guitar is a little bit bad. I hate to use the word bad, but look at the fingerboard right here. And on this guitar, the reason it was bad is because there was actually a chip of wood missing under here when I pulled the fingerboard off. You know, Martin, the fingerboard comes over the edge, and Martin doesn't pay as much attention to the underneath of the fingerboard where nothing is going to be seen. And there was a chip of wood missing, and the rosette was messed up, which is not uncommon. But on this guitar, you can see it. So I had to go in there and loosen up the rosette and very carefully push it back into position and glue it to make it look good. And then that little piece of missing wood was really the messiest part of the whole deal. And so I inlaid another piece of wood. The color doesn't exactly match. You can see it if you look at it. But from this distance away, I don't think you see anything. If your eyes are really sharp, you'll see that the 15th fret, 14th fret is back this direction. It's back an eighth of an inch. And you as a player can see the shim. But let's look at that shim again. And of course I had to do something about the heel cap, which on a D28 is easy because it's just a pure white heel cap, and you can put a piece of white plastic in there and it looks good. But the D35 has got this quadruple inlaid heel cap, and man, I didn't want to take the time to duplicate that for a little piece of plastic. So what I did was I kind of hinted at it by making a black and white laminate going that way. Okay? And again, I'm not really trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to make it invisible, because I think that a repairman, anybody else who works on this guitar, should be aware of what's going on here. And like I said in my other video, every option for correcting the intonation is ugly in some way or another. If you scoot the bridge back, you've got an ugly scar you've got to deal with. If you use an oversized bridge, that's ugly. I hate oversized bridges. If you move the saddle slot back into the middle of the bridge and move the pins back, that's ugly, because that doesn't look right either, you know. And it puts the saddle slot in the middle of the bridge, which changes the whole fulcrum point. And this technique is ugly to the player, but only to the player. You see, you guys can't tell any difference. And the player's sitting there and really, you're looking like this and your head's over here. You really can't see the shim. You got to look over here at it. So, anyway, I think the shim is a pretty good technique sometimes. The reason I did it on this guitar is because this top is so pretty. It's relatively pristine. It's got a few finish cracks in it here and there, but you know, on the whole, it's a good-looking top for a 70's. And the other reason is that he's got a K&K pickup in here, which goes on the bridge plate. So if I scooted the bridge back, I would have had to deal with the bridge plate. I would have had to plug the holes, and I don't like to do that because you can plug the holes, but there's still 6 holes in the bridge plate. And it still makes a weak spot right there, you know. Most of the time when I scoot the bridge, nearly all the time when I scoot the bridge, I'm doing a new bridge plate. So to scoot the bridge in this case, I would have had to pull the K&K pickup, which I have about a 75% success rate on, but I would have had to pull the K&K pickup, I would have had to do a new bridge plate, then I would have had to scoot the bridge back, and you know, all in all, and then I would have had a scar to finish up here, which I can do pretty good. But all in all, given the options, given the fact that this bridge is fine, we didn't want to mess with the bridge plate on this guitar because of money. I thought, well, let's do the shim. Let's do the shim under the neck here. The other thing about this is that, as I explained before, is I did no damage to the guitar. So if you wanted to, you could pull this neck off, you could remove my shims, you could put this neck right back and it would be exactly back where it was, because when I did a neck reset on it, I built the neck reset into the shim. I actually didn't even take any material at all off of the guitar's heel at all. So it'd be a pretty simple matter to pull this neck. In fact, I've already pulled it once because I wasn't happy with the way it was sitting. Pull the neck off, take the shims off, put it right back exactly where it was. You could be back to a stock guitar that plays out of tune. And then you still have to do a neck reset on it because I didn't do anything to the heel. But that's one advantage of this thing is, yeah, it's a little bit ugly, but I did no damage whatsoever to the guitar. That's not true when you move the bridge. When you move the bridge, I minimize the amount of finish I take off of it, which is good. I do that by thinning the bridge. But I thin the bridge so it's not the stock bridge anymore, or I put a new bridge on, whichever, which costs you money. And then I've got to drill holes in the top from when the bridge scoots, so that's one damage. I like to do the bridge plate. That's damage, to the original guitar. So scooting the bridge causes a lot of damage. If you do an oversized bridge, you're going to cause all kinds of damage to the guitar because you've got to score out the finish for that big, fat, oversized bridge. Plus, your pinholes are going to be a different place and all that. Again, you see. So, no matter what you do is going to cause damage to the guitar. Now, when I'm moving the bridge, I'm typically hot rodding the guitar anyways. So we've already made the decision to damage the guitar in order to, to improve it. We're going to scout the braces. We're going to do the popsicle brace. We're going to, scoot the bridge back, put a new bridge plate in it. Once we just make that decision, then ethically, logistically, we're going to go for the best solution and forget about the damage. Okay? I'm just telling you what goes through my head when I help make the decisions as to whether to shim the neck, scoot the bridge, put a new bridge on, I haven't done a saddle movement in a long time. It's scoot the bridge. That's really the best solution if you're going to do the bridge plate and everything else. So, but I'm just trying to give you how to do the thought process. On this guitar, I decided to do the shim, talked to the owner about it, and that's what we did. So it's got a shim neck in, it's an 1/8 of an inch back. And for the front, you can't tell. I mean, you'd be really hard pressed to, Oh, look at that. Over the rainbow in all 6 keys, huh? Well, it's pretty good intonation. It was 1/8 of an inch off before, so. Anyway, this guitar's done. It's going home. It had a neck reset. Let's see. Let's start up here. It got gold waveries. The nuts good. Frets were good. Got a neck reset. and I built the neck reset into the shims, which corrected the intonation. We put the popsicle brace out, and I put my brace in there, and then of course I got a new saddle with the neck reset. It already had bone pins in it. I just checked the fit on that, and that's it. You know? It's a D35. It still has the stock big rosewood bridge plate because it's got a K&K on it right now. So, and that's okay, you know. I mean, it sounds good. Taking the popsicle brace out helped clean the trebles up just a little bit. It's a good guitar, you know, good D35. There's more that can be done to it, but, you know, there's more money to be spent too, so everything's compromised. It's a nice guitar, you know. This one's got a good neck, and when you get a D35 that's got a nice neck, they're really good. I really like the D35 neck, especially when the binding is in good shape, it's not cracked, broken up and everything. And I just personally get along really good with the bound fingerboards, because I like to look down and see those dots just popping out, and I like the feel of that bound fingerboard. So it makes it feel a little fatter to me. But man, this has got a nice neck on it. Very comfortable guitar to play. The action's nice and low now. It's 90 thousandths of an inch here, which is just a hair under 3/32. 76, 75 down in here. Just super nice to play. So, okay, that's the neck shim technique for correcting the intonation on the 70s guitars. And as far as I know, I'm the only person that's done this, and I just thought about it. I came across, it occurred to me one day, because once in a while you have to fix a guitar that has an overset neck, this way. Somebody gave it too much neck angle and got this massively tall saddle, and that's just not good. It causes problems. You don't really want to go shaving material off at the top of the neck. You can do a little bit, but if you got to correct it a lot, I looked at a guitar like that one day, and I thought, well, I'll put a shim under the heel and bring it back up, and you can stain that, and it won't be too obvious. And as I was doing that, I thought, you know, I could flip this around, put the shim up at the top and pull the neck back, and that would correct the intonation, and I could build my neck reset into that shim. And I thought, I'm going to try that. If you go to my website and you look at 70's Martins, I actually state on there that I have not done it yet, and that was, you know, I wrote that 15 years ago. I'd say in the past 5 years I have done quite a few of these now. And again, it's just a very valuable technique. It's a very useful technique on a guitar that has a really pristine top on it, a really nice top, and you don't want to go doing that, you know. One of the other guitars I do is an HD28 from the 70s that, you know, had been under bed, and it was immaculate. And I just couldn't stand the thought of, you know, scooting that bridge. Plus, the HD28 had the nice maple bridge plate on it, so there was no reason to mess with that. Bridge was nice, everything was nice, and I told you, I had to go back a lot. I had to go more than 1/8 of an inch. And, you know, we did the shims, and it looked good. And it was really clean under the fingerboard, so. Now this one looks good. The more I look at it, the more it's looking good to me. So, all right, let's get out of here. I got more guitars to review.